Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, covert cruising queers cause consternation. First though, Zimbabwe's moves to officially recognise intersex people. As things stand, there's maybe as many as 2% of the population falling through the gaps when it comes to the likes of legal protections, employment and access to healthcare and education. But laws are now being reviewed off the back of a High Court challenge. This is actually ongoing, but it's already prompted the government to act. Travel can be an issue for intersex people as well.
If you imagine they go to an airport, they are told, no, it's not you. You are a girl. But now what has been presented before us is a boy. You see, and having to keep on explaining yourself everywhere you get is disheartening.
Government Minister Edgar Moyo speaking to Star FM. The people and organisations who've taken this to court want, amongst other things, a third gender marker and no more surgery on intersex kids.
Pride Daily.
To South Korea next, and another push to overhaul the country's LGBTQ+ sign language, because some of it's quite offensive. For example, the terms gay and lesbian are represented by graphic sexual gestures. One's for anal sex, while the other's meant to be two women rubbing their bodies together. Human rights groups have submitted a petition to the National Institute of Korean Language, calling again for alternatives created back in 2021 to finally be adopted.
Pride Daily.
And after an LGBTQ+ cruise ship was turned away by Turkey and Egypt recently, a different one has been allowed to dock in extremely anti-queer Morocco. The Celebrity Equinox stopped for 9 hours in Tangier in the northwest, allowing passengers to go see the sights. It's led to outrage on social media. Outrage, I tells you, after people found out the queers had been walking among them. They say it shouldn't have been allowed because homosexuality is illegal there.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, Putin's papal purge. First though, Slovakia's anti-queer government seems to think it can be a part of the European Union while ignoring the bloc's rules on marriage equality. It's not been legalised in the country, but since last November, member states have had to recognise marriages conducted elsewhere in the EU. Slovakians Metod Sparcek and Ivan Novotny got married in Austria 6 years ago. Authorities at home aren't playing ball, though, and they plan to sue.
As long as their marriages are not recognized, LGBTQ people will inevitably feel discriminated against, feel like second-class citizens. Many will feel they have to live in the closet or try to hide their sexual orientation in public, from acquaintances or from their employers.
Metod speaking to DW there. Slovakia's Prime Minister is Robert Fico.
How would we look if a same-sex couple could register a marriage at the Civil Registry Office when the Constitution provides only for marriage between a man and a woman? We would look like fools.
Thanks again to DW. Fico, who's got a very square head, has trampled all over LGBTQ+ rights in Slovakia, perhaps to distract from his very square head. The European Commission says his country's got legal commitments as an EU member state, and in not so many words, sanctions have been threatened.
Pride Daily.
Next, Russia's censored the LGBTQ+ references from the autobiography of Pope Francis. These include the bits where he says homosexuality isn't a crime, that gay and transgender people are welcome in the Catholic Church, and he talks about blessing same-sex unions. President Vladimir Putin's had them blacked out of the printed version in Russia, where the non-existent international LGBT movement is designated an extremist organisation. Pope Francis died last year and had worked to make the church more inclusive.
Pride Daily.
And Nicholas Keenan's become the Men's Hockey World Cup's first out bisexual player. The 29-year-old's been competing for Argentina against Japan, and later his side faces the Netherlands. And this is where things could get tricky, because the Netherlands Prime Minister Rob Jetten is Nicholas's fiancée, so someone could be sleeping on the couch if he plays too well.
Queer Family Podcast.
If you've ever felt like your family didn't fit the traditional mold, this show is for you. I'm Jamie, host of the Queer Family Podcast. And every week we highlight LGBTQIA+ families and the beautiful, unique ways we build and show up for our families in a world that wasn't designed for us. We celebrate, highlight, uplift, and normalize queer families because our stories deserve center stage. New episodes every Monday. Listen wherever you get your pods.
Love is love on the Queer Family Podcast. Love is love. Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, conversion therapy can kiss my Honduras. First though, seems Australia's far-right One Nation party's really ramping up its efforts to utterly repel queer voters. It's only a few days since failed election candidate Parminder Singh was forced to apologise for calling homosexuality a mental illness. And now Tyrone Whitton, the hate group's senator for Western Australia, has said pretty much the same thing about transgender people.
There's male, there's female, and then there's mental illness. If you want to wear a dress, that's fine, I don't care. But they can't keep saying that, hey kids, that's normal. Well, no, it's not. You're going to be a boy or you're going to be a girl. And parents that are promoting this, I think that's child abuse.
He's been speaking to Billboard Battalion, a populist conspiracy theory outlet. Oh, and just for good measure, you've also got the One Nation leader, Pauline Hanson, who's been doubling down on comments from 30 years ago. The 72-year-old's reiterated her dislike of Sydney's gay and lesbian Mardi Gras, which she said at the time was promoting something that is not natural, much like the colour of her hair.
Pride Daily.
Next, an LGBTQ+ man could be deported back to Uganda from Germany later, where being queer carries the death penalty. Mark Z is currently in a detention centre at Munich Airport after escaping his home country. Says he was tortured there for his sexuality, leaving him with severe PTSD and depression. Authorities in Bavaria aren't convinced he's queer, despite his ex-boyfriend providing intimate details about the relationship. Mark's lawyer and human rights groups are pushing for an emergency block on the deportation.
Pride Daily.
And Honduras wants to ban conversion therapy. Outlawing attempts to change a person's sexuality or gender identity is part of a new LGBTQ+ protection law being proposed. Would also make it easier for trans people to officially change their name and gender markers, plus the law aims to target anti-queer violence and discrimination. No time to tell you that. It's the opening ceremony of the LGBTQ+ Rugby World Cup later in Brisbane, Australia. The Bingham Cup takes place every 2 years, with the final on Sunday. And you've got Black Pride in New York starting today, with the theme celebrating a legacy of resilience.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, a step forward for same-sex surrogacy in Australia. First though, the Russian LGBT Network, possibly the last remaining queer advocacy organisation left in the country, has shut down. A statement from them says, after it was designated as extremist by President Putin a few months ago, the safety of anyone linked to it would be at risk. Over the last 20 years, the network provided free legal help, plus psychological and emergency support, whilst also documenting hate crimes. It won an award back in 2013 from LGBTQ+ magazine Attitude, and listen to how prescient the acceptance speech was.
I hope the events which are happening now in Russia, Uganda and other countries where homophobia became official state policies have made the people of the West understand that equality and freedom are not given once for all time. These are values we have to fight for every day.
Countless other Russian queer advocacy groups have been forced to close as well. Putin also designated the non-existent international LGBT movement as extremist in 2023 as part of his long-running crackdown on queer rights.
Pride Daily.
To India next, where the state of Odisha's revamped its Transgender Welfare Board. And among the first things done, ordering all government departments to include a trans and third gender option on their job recruitment sites. There's also plans to beef up the District Transgender Protection Cell, which investigates hate crimes and offers legal assistance, plus free gender affirmation surgeries could be offered at state-run medical colleges.
Pride Daily.
And a gay couple in Western Australia have won their Supreme Court fight to be surrogate parents. Trent and Brad Dunn were told only the straights can have this option, so they got legal in 2023. Judges have now said it's discrimination, making the guys the first same-sex pair to be approved for surrogacy. A law change due next year will fix this unfairness, but because of the court verdict, the Dunns are good to go now, don't have to wait, and they've already found a surrogate. No time to tell you that. The Brazilian Volleyball Confederation's banning transgender women from female competitions, effective immediately, and bringing in compulsory genetic testing. It's Southern HIV/AIDS Awareness Day in the US. More than half of new HIV diagnoses are in America's South. And you've got the UK's Scene LGBTQ+ Film and TV Festival starting today in Manchester.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. A bit longer than usual today because I am a giver. Coming up, the homo history of queer Cork. First though, let me give you the satisfaction of hearing a dirty, rotten transphobe being called out to a dirty, rotten, transphobic face. Culture warrior Lorena Biasotti is on a school board in Las Vegas and turned up for a public meeting wearing an anti-transgender t-shirt. Ally Amanda Newcoles was also there though, and she wasn't having it.
Transgender and non-binary youth already face staggering rates of anxiety, depression, and bullying. They look to school leadership for protection, stability, and basic dignity. For a leader to bring targeted hostility into the very room where decisions about their education and well-being are made is both irresponsible and cruel.
This is from a speech Amanda put together during the meeting, having only just seen the t-shirt, which features a big logo of XXXY Athletics, a transphobic clothing brand.
You cannot effectively advocate for the well-being of all children while publicly displaying contempt for some of them. It compromises the neutrality of this board, signals a hostile environment to our students, and undermines the trust of this community that has been placed in this office.
Remember, this is all being said right to Biasotti's face. She's also a member of the far-right anti-transgender Moms for Liberty hate group and has previously compared being trans to paedophilia. Anyway, back to Amanda, because she ain't done.
I call on this board to condemn hostility toward trans humans and to hold its members to the highest standards of respect and responsibility. Our students and our parents are watching, and they deserve so much better than this. Thank you.
Afterwards, Amanda said it's time to speak out, fight, and stand firm to get far-right elements like Biasotti off the school boards.
Pride Daily.
Next, 3 queer street performers have been attacked with fireworks in France. 2 dancers and a musician were taking part in Lyon's annual Everyone Outside festival, and even from when they were setting up, there was intimidation and homophobic insults. It then escalated to the fireworks, leaving one of the group with a ruptured eardrum and destroying his computer. Lots of condemnation, including from the mayor, who says they'll always be welcome in Lyon.
Pride Daily.
And for the first time, a museum in Ireland's got a permanent LGBTQ+ exhibit. It's at Cork Public Museum and tracks the city's queer history with lots of artefacts and personal items like flyers, badges and magazines. They help tell the story of people and organisations that work to defend the queer community there, especially up to 1993, when homosexuality was illegal in Ireland. No time to tell you that. Music events funded by the state in Uruguay could have to include at least 30% gender diverse and female artists. Plans have been passed by the Senate and now need approval from the Chamber of Deputies. And San Francisco Queer Film Festival kicks off today with Dyke Festival Berlin tomorrow. Both are on till Sunday. There's more on our socials at Pride Daily Pod, including any breaking news. That's your lot. I'll see you next week.